Hello, my name's Artemis. Thanks for joining us for this debate. It's not going to be all that serious, don't worry. We are going to be looking at, whether people are going to want kids or pets more often these days and the various reasons why they might select their answer. Yes, this video is probably going to be biased. I mean, look at me. But I'm sure we'll cover some good points. Or at least try to. So, of course, with an issue like this, there are obviously two sides to this coin, and I thought I would enlist the help of our local fleshy bastard to try and explain the other side of that coin.
Yeah, even though I'm not exactly pro-child either, but whatever.
Yeah, whatever. Let me go first anyway. So, kids are just mewling, splatty, disgusting, messy little drains on finances, for fuck's sake. They take over your entire life, and they're just desperate for you to just basically do everything for them, whereas pets can tend to be a bit more self-sufficient. They take a bit of work, a little bit of training and teaching, but ultimately, they're not going to fucking die if you leave them on their own in the house for more than, like, a half hour. They're not going to go sticking fingers in fucking light sockets or anything.
Pets can be very costly, though, and can be very difficult to keep care of. Some pets need a different environment, some need a lot of different dietary needs that might not be the easiest things to pick up, whereas having a child is just natural. The whole world is built around having kids. That's exactly what the purpose of life is, to reproduce and ensure the survival of your bloodline. It's right, it's natural, and it's therefore, the human imperative.
There's a lot of danger in just fucking a child up for life, and that's fucking scary, You got no idea if the way that you're bringing this child up is actually gonna, pay off in the long run. What's the returns on this investment exactly, Are you raising the next little psychopath, the next little serial killer? Are you just basically trying your best but accidentally imbuing them with all of the childhood trauma you had to suffer through as well? That's a terrifying fucking thought, whereas pets can be a lot easier to cope with than that because, you're twisting around to their natural habitat and their natural way of working through life. And, if you do get issues, they seem to be a bit quicker to fix. Just seems like, pets are just easier in general.
Kids are for life, and by all chances, they're just going to outlive you. So, you've got someone there to take care of you when you're old, and you've got someone just there your entire life. As soon as they're born, that's it. Hopefully, as long as nothing bad happens, they are with you for the good long run. But pets aren't going to last all that long, are they? Not as long as we do, certainly, unless you're going for something like a tortoise. But your typical, I don't want to say this, but your typical dog or cat, for instance, it's not going to be as, long of return on the investment as perhaps, popping out a little child will be.
Pets are much more flexible when it comes to your money and your time commitments. Like, feeding a pet, insuring a pet, all of that kind of thing. Hell of a lot cheaper than actually getting a kid. And, if you want to go away on holiday, okay, I'll go to a kennels, a cattery, or if I've got, like, budgies or something, I'll ask a friend to help with that. That's pretty simple. You can go and do that. Whereas, with a kid, you've got to find someone who's happy to take on a whole-ass fucking child and look after them, or bring them with. And I've been on enough airplanes before to know that screaming babies, not fun, okay? And also, having a pet doesn't make you, a dog owner to absolutely everybody in your life, because, you can't really own a dog, but being a parent, that's your identity. The second you give birth, that's it. You are a parent now, you have a child, that's your entire life taken up. That is the number one most important thing. Hope you didn't want a career or anything, because the modern world is not built around parents actually having professional careers.
You've got absolutely no idea what your child is going to turn into, but that can be a really good thing. You could be giving birth to the child that cures cancer, or the next Prime Minister, hopefully a good one. You could be giving birth to just something that really adds to the world, something that, is a true gift to the universe. And as lovely as pets are and as nice as they are to come home to, I'm not sure that a gecko is going to cure disease, and I'm not massively convinced that a goldfish is going to run for office. Of course, there are, loads of reasons why you would want to choose one or the other, or both, or neither. We're never going to cover all of them in a video, and that's why I'm saying this, to cover our back, because we probably missed some very important ones.
Yeah, it's always good to cover our back, but these are just like the main points that came up. And, there are obviously a lot of them, and some people are going to disagree and agree with different ones, but this is just what we saw, and I think there's enough evidence to suggest that they are worth talking about at least. And people do like to talk about this issue, especially certain people who like to talk a lot of shit. So, of course, there are a lot of societal pressures that come along with this whole debate as well. And a lot of times it comes from your own family. Parents always want grandchildren, now don't they? But it goes deeper than that. Yes, the entire world seems to be geared towards, man meets woman, has kid, and continues the cycle. And, you get housing benefit, tax credit, you get a hell of a lot of little breaks that come your way if you decide to pop out a little fucking gremlin. So it's easy to see all of those practical reasons, but how it even goes deeper than that when it comes to your whole belief system and theology. And, one of the reasons this video came up is because, the Pope decided to weigh in and have his cake and eat it when it comes to, letting people live their lives like, Catholicism likes to do. We're not going to get into that debate, but yeah, he had some shit to say, calling people who choose to have pets over children selfish. And that choosing pets over having kids is causing us to lose our humanity. Right. Probably just upset that the priests are going to have less kids to, nonce, but whatever. No, we're not going to get into all of that, obviously. I had to make that joke, though. So let's break that down, shall we? Saying that if you are choosing to have choosing to have pets rather than kids, you are selfish. Well, first of all, fuck you. You don't get to say what's selfish. We are living our lives for ourselves, okay? If it makes us happy, then selfishness doesn't come into it. If it's making us happy and it doesn't hurt someone else, then that's our decision. That's us living our fucking life, okay? We're not living it for the expectations of other people, What exactly are we being selfish to? A being that doesn't exist yet because we haven't conceived them or given birth to them? Or being selfish to society, the other people that have these expectations of our generation spitting out a whole bunch of kids? Because it seems to me like a lot of times you're not exactly pro-life, you're not exactly pro-child, you're actually just pro-birth. If you really gave a shit, what you wouldn't be saying is, you should be having kids. No, what you should be saying is, well, instead of adopting rescue dogs, maybe adopt rescue children, because the foster care system is kind of overwhelmed, but no one really gives a shit about that when it comes to, like, abortion law or saying, oh, maybe you shouldn't have pets, you should have kids instead. Like, I'm sorry. No, it doesn't work that way, okay? You want to try and make a push for people to go and adopt some children, then maybe your argument will have a bit more weight to it. But let's have a look at the other part of this whole thing. We're losing our humanity. And that's a little bit of a fucking weird one, because, I kind of get that humanity and the definition of it is up for debate, but you could make the argument that having kids is easy. It's very easy. That is what we are designed for. It is what our brains want us to do most of the time. It is a species imperative to continue your species and ensure the future of it. That is one of the very basest drives of life, whether it's human or down to bacteria. Reproduction is the big fucking end game now, isn't it? So in terms of humanity, that's not something that's unique to humans, is it? That's not something that is unique to us and makes us more human by having kids. No. But what is unique to humans, or something that is exhibited by humans way more than any other species ever could, is taking on board other species that are struggling and need a life and integrating them into our society and our families. Now, you do see different species that take on, pets, or they coexist with other species, but you don't see any, like us, who truly embrace and actually get certain animals domesticated. Look at dogs, 20,000 years of domestication through living so close to humans. And you want to say that choosing a baby over having a dog is losing my humanity? I would counter that by saying that, spending 20,000 years as a species getting this whole ass species closer to us to the point where they are born liking people and they can pick up facial expressions and detect various diseases, just kicking them to the curb in favour of spitting out another fucking baby, that's losing humanity, alright? So yeah, I got some shit to say on that, because quite honestly, it just seems like another authority figure deciding to weigh in and say, you're not doing what we expected you to do, and us supposed to actually give a fuck about it. Because at the end of the day, regardless of this, people have a choice. People can live their life however they want. You don't have to have a fucking family. This isn't the 1960s where that's the only future for you, for God's sake. And calling it selfish, saying you are selfish for having pets instead of kids, is the cuntish thing you could say. When some people cannot earn enough money to survive. Where some people do not feel like they want to be in this fucking world. When sometimes the only comfort you have is the cat or the dog or the gecko or the goldfish, something that you can take care of, that actually depends on you and actually cares about you. If that's the only thing that's keeping you going, if that's the only thing that makes a shitty day at a job you hate worthwhile, then how the fuck could you ever be called selfish for caring about that? Okay, rant over. I'm sure I might have pissed off some religious folks, but they've pissed me off for, millennia now, so we're not even close to even. It's fine. But when it comes down to it, there are an awful lot of practical reasons why arguments like this don't work and why people are, starting to choose pets over kids. And I'm sure the next segment will go over that.
So, asking a question this big, we did what we always do, and we turned to the Twitter sphere to see exactly what you guys thought, and look at these results. They are not surprising at all. Now, yes, us being furries and us liking animals and, working hard for animal-based charities when it comes to conventions does mean that the results are a bit skewed. I'm pretty sure if we went for the normies, they would be kind of different, but that's what this video is about. It's about us lot, our new generation and whatnot, so I'm happy to keep these results. But why exactly are people more geared towards pets? Why exactly is this trend being noticed all over the world? Well, I think it's more mundane and it goes to some very practical concerns, such as...
Yeah, the biggest practical reason I can see is just the state of the fucking world. I mean, cost of living is just consistently going up. People can barely afford to keep the fucking lights on, for God's sake, working 2 or 3 jobs just to barely make rent, and even then, they're not exactly homeowners or anything. You add a child into the mix, and how the fuck are you supposed to cope? How are you supposed to live? For fuck's sake, all you get to do is survive and hope that that's good enough. And then you've got everything else on top of that, the geopolitical landscape. Are we going to get bombed soon? What kind of child am I bringing in to what kind of world? Is it actually going to be there for them? Or, is the environmental catastrophe that's coming in going to arrive just a little bit too soon for them to actually enjoy their existence?
And of course, with so little time in the day, just barely any time to yourself, as you just waste your entire life for the profits of someone else, yay capitalism, you're going to be more likely to want to come home to a comfort, something that, is going to be just a nice presence to come home to. And I'm not saying that kids can't be that and are not that. I'm obviously not saying that, but kids are very high maintenance and pets, not so much. If you have a dog, take him for a walk a couple of days, that's very good for your mental health, gets you out in nature. Maybe not great when it's raining, but it still gets you out. And they're very comforting, and also they're not as pressuring as, a baby is. If I accidentally make a mistake with raising Milo, and, I say, oh shit, I've forgotten to give him his dinner. Oh, that's really bad. I'm such a shit owner. Right, I'll give him his dinner now. I do that to a baby, I could cause fucking health issues, right? Little fuckers can't even hold their head up.
Some people just don't have the bandwidth for raising a child because they do take up your entire life. And some people just don't have that in them. They don't have the capacity to deal with that, whether that comes from, physical or mental issues that they deal with on a daily basis, or just their general lifestyle or other commitments that they have. They do really dominate your life when children come in. And if, you struggle to deal with the simplest of tasks because, life has dealt you a shitty hand, then you're not really going to be all that enticed into inviting someone else into this, are you? That's not going to be a big yes.
Living standards are just not what they used to be, are they? The world is going to shit. We've discussed that quite a bit in videos. And it's very difficult for people of certain generations to actually get decent housing. We'll be able to, pay the heating bills and whatnot, which means that the standards of living just don't lend themselves to raising a shitload of kids. I mean, look at this little article we found whilst writing this video about the amount of children living in what essentially amounts to squalor. This isn't the fault of the parents. They want to have a family. That's what a lot of people want, but the world's just not really built for that anymore. It's such a struggle to actually have an income that supports you and you alone. Adding in a spouse does add in extra income, but then adding in extra kids just makes everything so much more difficult.
And of course there is the really easy one that some people just hate kids. They just, they got no real offence to people who have kids, but in terms of actually dealing with them, They don't like them. I get that. I definitely feel that. I'm awkward as fuck around kids because I'm just like, no, this is weird and annoying, and I keep having to make, excuses as to why I feel awkward. It's because I can't, be myself because I swear all the fucking time. I don't want to be around a child with that. Ugh. Well, thank you very much for watching. Hope I didn't piss you off too much, and maybe you actually agreed with some of these points. If you did, comment below. It'd be nice to see what all of you think about this very conundrum here. Would you rather have, kids or pets or both or neither? Are you quite happy to just go through life solo, or are you thinking, no, I want as much life as possible. I'll have everything. Let me know. I'm curious. But thank you for watching. If you did enjoy this video and you would think, what would be great if I could have this face on my chest all the time, then maybe have a look at the merchandise, because we can make that happen. Don't worry. We can sort you out with some cool stuff. And if you think like, those big beans, those paws, yes, how could I get those in my face? Well, we also do cushions. So have a little look. But if you also thought maybe you just want to support the channel, you like what I do, and you just want to help me keep things going as they are, or even improve, I dare say, then maybe have a look at the Patreon as well. There's a ton of extra benefits you can get on that, and I'm pretty certain nobody is watching the video by this point, so I can pretty much just do and say what I want, and let the graphic play out. But if you are sticking around, thank you. I guess. I say this every video, so it's old hat now. But yes, thank you very much for watching, and I guess we might see you next week. Bye!